Thank you for joining us today, Vesna, and you are with Ninja. So, which is one of my favorite products, actually. I think about it all the time. I think the retention that is in that product suite is phenomenal. So when I think about, kind of, her incredible mind and what we're doing here today, how did you get into your career?
It was kind of a zigzaggy type of path. Nothing's ever just clear cut, and it shouldn't be. So I fell into sales. It's not what I graduated for or anything like that. But what I found was, as I was, going through my career path, I love talking to people. I love helping people and finding ways and solutions that can really work for them. And then I was lucky enough myself to come across Ninja and the amazing leadership there. And so that's kind of how I fell in with Ninja as well.
That's awesome. It's funny. You and I met by having just a conversation, right? So that was great. And, I'm a big fan of making sure that not only the company aligns, but the leadership aligns, and when you have that kind of passion in a company that you're proud to work for, but also proud to be part of the leadership team, in what they're accomplishing, it's a big deal. It helps you from a standpoint of culture and wanting to come to work.
I completely agree. There's, every job is basically the same to a certain extent. But what really makes a true difference in whether you're happy in your career or not is the leadership and the culture that's there.
I have come up through the ranks in life sciences for a while, and it's one of those things where the culture really, really matters to me when I'm looking at positions, because that is truly what sets the path for success for not only the company, but also for the individuals. Once you have a company that feels invested in you and they're really working towards your success just as well as their success, I think that truly is the recipe for, a happy career path, if you will.
Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree. You need to have leadership that's supportive, where you're also not scared if you make a mistake.
It's a great point. That's definitely a great point. So you talk about going into sales. Was sales something that you were in first, or did you have other jobs before the sales opportunities?
So honestly, in the beginning of my career, never thought I would be in sales ever. It kind of worked out that way for the best. I actually started out as an accountant. So I have my accounting degree. I got my CPA. I was working at a firm and really started to realize it wasn't fulfilling me. I wasn't happy at the end of the day. I was bored. Mm-hmm. And so one of my colleagues reached out to me and she said, I think you'd be great in sales. Why don't you just give it a shot? And I thought, I have zero experience. I have no idea what I'm doing, but why not? What's the worst that can happen? Right. So I switched to a sales team, started there and fell in love with it. And it's been in sales ever since.
That is an amazing thing, right? Coming from a function of being this, the person in charge of finance into actually, being a salesperson. What a great journey. Like that is fantastic that it's kind of like the introvert versus the extrovert, right? It's one of those things where you think that all of the people in finance are introverted, so there's no way that they would be anything other than in finance, you know what I mean? And that's not the case at all. Most people that I've met, especially, in finance, are so willing to help, and they do other things, and they're always trying to help you, kind of do what you need to do for your job. So that was interesting, very, very interesting.
Thank you.
Love that. I love that. So when you went through your path, and obviously you've had to do stuff throughout your career, as far as going through the process even of going from finance into sales. What do you think are the obstacles that you've overcome in your career?
Wow, there's been a lot of obstacles that I've had to overcome in my career. Some of the obstacles have just been, well, you have no experience. How do you expect to succeed in this role? And when someone tells me something like that, it actually makes me want to prove them wrong. And I think, okay, I'm going to learn and I'm going to teach myself and also just do research on how to better myself for this role. And I'm going to kill it. You know, it's a lot of self-talk for me regarding what kind of success I'm going to have.
The power of positivity, right? I mean, something where, you're able to say, I can do this, and, I'm not going to let anything stop me as part of that. It's something I think as women sometimes too, we let that happen to ourselves where we let the doubt kind of creep in and thinking that, we're not able to execute or we should not change or something like that. So kudos to you for really persevering and moving forward, because that's something I think that, especially in this time where we've had COVID and everything else going on at the same time, we really all had to push forward. We really weren't given much of a choice.
Exactly.
So if you were to change anything and say, you know what, I'm going to change my industry, do you feel as if your position in a different industry, not in tech, would be different? And how would you tackle it?
I'm sure it would be. I love the industry I'm in, especially now with everything that's going on, helping with cybersecurity. If I was in any other industry, I'm sure my path would have been different. I'm not sure how much of a difference I could have made in a different industry, because I need to feel the passion for what I am selling and providing for people. And I need to believe in what I'm selling. And I know that with cybersecurity, for example, I can really help and really make a difference in companies.
Do you feel right now, so obviously cybersecurity is front and center right now, right? It should be, and it always should have been, you know what I mean? And Ninja is a great product that teaches about, to cybersecurity and how to actually, kind of make your employees aware of, what's going on in the world. What I think is funny is that, when we think about cybersecurity on the whole, we don't feel like there's a lot of women involved, but yet there are a lot of women that are actually going more and more into security field. It's an interesting dynamic. And I don't know if it's something you're seeing too as well, but companies are definitely focused on, bringing women into the security area.
I agree. And perhaps one of the obstacles that, some people may face as women is, it's such a male dominated field. And so, I know I've spoken with younger women that feel there might not be room for them. It's, a complete, male dominated field, like I just mentioned. And I always tell them, we need to change that. I know that, people, there's a stereotype that women aren't as great at tech or math or things like that. I completely disagree with that. Mm-hmm. I just think that we need to kind of dislodge that notion that we're not, and just go for it and go forward with it.
It's a great point. Sometimes it's not what other people think, it's what we believe about ourselves that makes the big difference. So just like you trying to overcome your obstacles, which was fantastic. So if you had to talk to your younger self, what would you say?
One big thing I would say, and I've told it to my daughters a million times, is do not shrink yourself for anybody. There's going to be people that are going to be intimidated by your intelligence level, by your voice. So don't shrink that. Be loud, take up space, and say what you need to say.
Yeah, absolutely awesome advice. Absolutely awesome advice. Is that the same advice that you would give to young girls today?
Yes, exactly the same advice. And I wish I had known that, because I kind of had to learn the hard way.
Yeah, it's not an easy journey, and we talk about it a lot. In Her Incredible Minds, we love the fact that people change careers, people go in different directions, everybody does things differently, and as a result of that, we grow, and we have to turn around and say, you know what, it was okay. It was okay for me to change my mind. It was okay for me to change the stream. It was okay for me to switch the lane. And I think that your career is a shining example of that.
Thank you. And I agree with that too. I think we as women have been told so many times, you just have to kind of stick to this path, make everybody else happy, do what you're supposed to do, quote unquote.
Mhm.
But without also telling us, is this what's making you happy? Is this good for your soul and for your inner peace?
Absolutely. That's great advice. Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Vesna, for being with us. We appreciate it. And we loved hearing about your story.
Thank you so much, Kate. And thank you for forming Her Incredible Mind. It's an amazing organization and proud to be a part of it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.